Good afternoon. Welcome to the second regularly scheduled commission meeting for the month of May for the City Commission. If you would, please stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Can we have a call for attendance, please?
Commissioner Thomas.
Yeah.
Commissioner Pruitt.
Here.
Commissioner Witt.
Here.
Commissioner Vowles.
Here.
Mayor State.
Here. First up on the agenda is our presentations portion, and the first person listed on my list is the Salvation Army. Thank you all for joining us this afternoon. If you would, please state your names and then tell us all about why you're here.
My name is Major Stephen Story. I am the Minister and Administrator for the Salvation Army in Henderson.
And I'm Roy Pullum, and I'm the Program Chair of the Salvation Army.
We're here this afternoon to just share with you some of what the Salvation Army is doing and to make a request on the Salvation Army's behalf. We are thankful for the opportunity to stand before you today and to work in this community. The Salvation Army in Henderson has been actively seeking ways to help those who are in need throughout many years. We have looked for ways to reduce toxic family stress, food insecurity, and many other struggles that families are facing every day. We're able to accomplish this through our many services and programs, such as our newly renamed soup kitchen, which we're now referring to as the Fellowship Kitchen, the food pantry, and our emergency social services, which include things like rent, utility assistance, clothing and furniture vouchers, and other financial services. The summertime is often a lean time for the Salvation Army financially, but it is not a lean time in regards to the need of the community. We often have an increase in service during the summertime, especially in our soup kitchen. In our current fiscal year, October through April, we have provided hope in the following ways. Our Fellowship Kitchen has served over 13,000 meals. Our emergency social services has served almost 2,700 individuals and families. We've provided over 1,000 food boxes and assisted over 100 households with rent and utility assistance. Many of those coming to us for the first time in years or ever. People like Carol. Carol is not her real name, but she comes to us every day, eats in our soup kitchen or our Fellowship Kitchen, and spends time talking to those around us. She comes not only just for food, but she comes for fellowship as well. The Jones family, who find themselves struggling to have to make a choice whether to put food on their table or keep their lights on. Families with children who are incurring added expenses during the summer months when kids are out of school will become one of those populations that we see an increase in. I could share with you countless stories of men, women, and children who have come to us feeling hopeless but leaving with a renewed sense of hope, including a gentleman named Thomas who sleeps in his car but comes and uses our shower facilities and also eats in our Fellowship Kitchen. This past holiday season, which is our biggest fundraiser, we experienced a shortfall in funds that we need to help us meet the needs in our community. All of our holiday income was down significantly. We continue to seek other funding sources from our community through grants and applications for those grants. And also we received $10,000 from the Henderson County Fiscal Court this morning to help meet some of those needs. We lost our family store truck recently in an accident. Those items that we picked up with our thrift store truck, our family store truck, supplied our family store with what it needed to sell. The income from those sales would then in turn support our programs like social services and other community programs. Without our truck, those will be lacking. Those losses have made helping those in need difficult, but not impossible. We're striving to meet each need of each individual and family. Each dollar we spend brings help and hope to them. Each person Each dollar we spend brings help and hope. Each statistic is not a number, but a person. We're thankful for the opportunity to stand before you today and respectfully submit a request for $10,000 for your consideration. We are grateful for the help that the City of Henderson has given in the past. As you consider our request, know that you're not helping just an organization, but you're helping those who come to us, our neighbors in need. Thank you.
Thank you so much for presenting to us, and the work that you all do in our community is invaluable. I will say, just for the benefit of the commission, that the same presentation, I believe, was made to the fiscal court this morning.
Yes, sir.
And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that the fiscal court went ahead and approved a $10,000
That is correct.
contribution to the Salvation Army.
Yes, sir.
Is that accurate?
Yes, sir.
In light of that, it is open for discussion or questions from the commission. We can take some action today or take it under further consideration. I'm going to open the floor to the commissioners to see which direction you all would like to go.
No, I would say if they're standing before us right now, they need the money now, so I'm absolutely in favor of it.
I'd like to say, not every day you get a chance to thank your school teacher, Mr. Roy Pullum. Thank you for everything. The decisions that comes when you people hear me speak, you can blame him. He set me. He said. He always say, he said, Bud, he said, don't say that way, say it this way. So if things come out wrong, everything I say, you blame this guy. So I really thank you. But the Salvation Army, I did not know what you said. I seen a group of people on Washington Street. I just kept watching them going. I was wondering where they was going. And I followed them, and they went into the Salvation Army to eat. It's some of the people I seen, I didn't know were in that kind of condition that they would have to go to the Salvation Army to eat. So what you do is way up here. You were cutting it short. The Salvation Army, for that group of people, especially in the Washington, Julia area, a lot of people come to the Salvation Army every day and eat. I'm on board for at least 10,000.
Commissioner Pruitt, I go to the Gathering Place every day to do physical therapy after having open heart surgery, and I've seen people sleeping on top of the picnic tables in Eckerson Park, and there's a lot of hunger and a lot of need. Hazel Book, who used to be our social worker, and she was wonderful. She told me that there was one lady that she dealt with got $562 a month to live on. She was trying to keep a little house open at $562. I don't know how in the world she did it, and I know she ate every day with us, and she got food boxes from us. But there's so much need in this community that if you're not attuned to it, if you're not there, you don't see it. But we see it as they walk through. And I've been with the Salvation Army for 20 years. And I've done very few things in my life I'm prouder of than working with the Salvation Army.
Thank you.
Well, it doesn't sound like it's going to be a terribly difficult decision for us. In light of your comments, do one of the commissioners want to put that in the form of a motion?
I will make a move that we give Salvation Army 10,000.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Thomas?
Aye.
Commissioner Pruitt?
Aye.
Commissioner Whitt?
Aye.
Commissioner Vowell?
Aye.
Mayor Staten?
Aye. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming and presenting to us today.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Mayor,
Thank you for everything you do.
This is a good time to talk about the New Hope right now, since we've done this. I got a letter from New Hope Animal Shelter,
Mhm.
and they're requesting funding. And I would just want to get back to the commission whether we can take a look at funding the New Hope Animal Shelter, especially what's going on with our animal control situation. I don't know what we would give them, but to take a look at it, maybe not at this meeting, but to come up with some, if we would like to fund them for our next meeting.
Sure. I'll tell you what we can do. Buzzy, if you can remember, just put a slot on the next agenda for us to discuss it. And then if you would, just send it out to the rest of the commission, and we can take a look at their request, and
Appreciate it.
that'll give us a little time to look at it and make a good decision. But thank you. Next up, I've got Henderson Tourist Commission, and I'm pretty sure that the Tourist Commission is going to be joined by the Friends of Audubon group as well. Thank you all for joining us. If you'd like to take the floor, it is certainly yours.
Yes, thank you all so much for having us. My name's Abby Dixon. I'm the Executive Director of the Henderson Tourist Commission.
And I'm Andy Rideout, representing Friends of Audubon.
And so the project that we're talking about today, the Tourist Commission, of course, has a vested interest in, but I'm representing kind of a larger group of community collaborators to update you all on a project that it's getting quite a bit of buzz in the community lately. It's really exciting, and that is the Conference Center at Audubon State Park. So this has been, to my understanding, a vision of the Friends of Audubon for over a decade now. And you all know it takes the right people at the right time with a good amount of momentum to make these big catalyst projects happen in our community. And we think that maybe that's where we are right now. So to kind of update you on what's gone on over the past couple of months, originally we had heard that there was $150 million in the state's budget to be spent on state parks. What we since learned is that that money was really set aside for deferred maintenance projects, and you all know with our state park system, there are a lot of those projects out there. So we had a meeting, a really great meeting with Secretary Lindy Casepier from the Tourism, Arts, and Heritage Cabinet, Senator Mills, of course, Mayor Staten was there, Judge Snyder was there, Friends of Audubon representatives, for folks from the park, all sorts of folks to talk about, okay, so if there's an opportunity to make a conference center happen for our park, what is the path forward to do that? I'll say that I think everyone in that room left with a lot of optimism on where we're going with this project, which was really exciting. So what we learned was if this project is to happen, it likely wouldn't be a part of that $150 million already budgeted for the deferred maintenance projects. It would probably be its own line item in the state budget. So where we are now, and of course I think you all are aware, the state would be looking at a 50-50 match. So 50% of the cost would be on the state and then 50% on local government. It's looking like it would probably be somewhere from a $12 to $15 million project. So of course, before we go down that path and really get in the weeds with a project like this, we need to make sure that it's a wise investment and something that we really do as a community want to pursue and see the value in pursuing. So with that, we're looking at a feasibility study. So the firm that we have nailed down to do the study for us is Hundon Strategic Partners. This is a firm that y'all are likely familiar with. They led us through the sports complex feasibility study a few years ago, and of course we've broken ground on that complex now, so exciting stuff there. And they also completed the boutique hotel feasibility study for us at the end of last year. So a few reasons why Hundon is a great choice. One, of course, they know our community. They already have a lot of that background information that would help them, with accuracy in the study. And two, the Kentucky Department of Tourism has a contract with Hundon. So if an attraction or a hotel were to open up and apply for Tourism Development Act funds, which are incentives for big tourism developments through the Tourism, Arts, and Heritage Cabinet, part of that process would be a feasibility study with Hundon. So the state really trusts Hundon to put an accurate number on economic impact, costs, to look at the project as a whole to see, what it's looking like financially. So if we get to the point, if the study comes back positively and we decide as a community we want to pursue this project, the next step would be presenting to the A&R committee in September, October. So it's moving pretty quickly. So when we're in Frankfurt, hopefully presenting this, to say that the feasibility study has already been complete and it's been completed by Hundon, we would have credibility there. They're familiar with the folks at Hundon. So the tourism office has agreed to be the contract holder on this study. We're happy to kind of lead the charge and project manage through the study. But I think without a feasibility study, we really hit a wall. We don't have an argument to make in Frankfurt, and we don't know that it's a wise investment for our community. So with that, I will turn it over to Andy.
Well, like Abby said, the whole community's kind of come together on this with the tourism, Chamber of Commerce, Econ Development. The county committed this morning, and I'm the guy here to ask for the funds. I'm asking for the money. So we've got a $52,000 feasibility study that we're looking to fund. We've got Friends of Audubon has committed $7,000 and $5,000 from Chamber, Econ Development. We're going to be talking to tourism, and then 15 from the county this morning. We're
Tourism
hoping,
committed.
Tourism committee, good, and 15,000 from our ask from you guys. And what I always think private business a lot of times, and feasibility studies are important. And at first, I wondered why it's important for this project, because if we do get to the point we can build this, the state, we assume, is going to be handling the staffing, the risk of profit and loss, and what do we care if it's feasible or not? But it does make a good sense that we don't want to invest money in a project, even if it's only 25% level, unless we know it's going to be a feasible project and work well. And that's why it falls in y'all's best interest, in my opinion, to support this feasibility study. And then hopefully, long-term, later this fall, next year, we're back talking about the big project. So that's what we're here today for, is to ask for that $15,000 and get that rolling so we can hit the A&R committee in Frankfurt in September and get the project committed by the state. So.
And I think you all know, Henderson, we could write the book on collaboration and working together to make really good things happen. And I think showing that the city, the county, the Friends of Audubon, Tourist Commission, Economic Development, Chamber, we're all in this project together. We all have interest in this project. I think that will really speak volumes in Frankfurt. To elaborate a little bit more on the study, it wouldn't only look at the convention center and what that facility would need to look like for it to be marketable. It would also look at our existing hotel inventory and maybe any gaps that we see in that to be able to market to out-of-town visitors, conventions, events, things like that. So it's kind of a twofold deal and something that I think is definitely needed.
We hope it's a catalyst for some hotel development too. So, and we firmly believe it is.
Yep, keeping 41 alive with the changes that are on the horizon. Do you all have any questions for us that we could help answer?
We good? Does anybody have any questions about the convention center project itself? I know that I've been to a number of the meetings, and so I'm well aware of the drawings and what the building looks like, but does anyone have any questions while we're up here presenting?
I'd just like to say, we could pull that off.
It's nice, isn't it?
We could pull that off in Henderson. That would be a big one.
Just a couple of comments about the drawings. Is the convention center seats the current renderings seat 400 people in the main upper level. It needs to be 2 levels because of the slope of the land and all that. So the bottom level has breakout rooms that would seat another couple hundred probably. But even in the upper, it's a little bigger than 400 people, and we did that on purpose so we aren't crowded. But based on specific square foot per person numbers, we're a little bigger than what they call for 400 people, but easily 400 people. And that's the size we kind of targeted for larger conferences, and that doesn't really conflict with other local business venues that rent out either. We don't have 400-person venues. So.
This would be an amazing amenity, of course, for our residents, but when I look at this and think about the tourism dollars that would come back into our community, benefiting local businesses, it's really exciting to think about what it could mean for our community. And it's lovely. Tim Skinner did an amazing job.
Well, and just to, I want to hit one part of your presentation a little harder, because I had a call yesterday from someone who had a concern that a convention center at Audubon State Park might take away from the natural beauty of the park. And so one thing I wanted to point out, the Friends of Audubon, you all probably had the meeting space idea maybe about 10 years ago, wasn't it, or something like that? Yeah. And the spot that they're looking at putting the convention center in is a spot where there's currently a little boathouse adjacent to existing parking. And so for all intents and purposes, what they would be doing with the project, or what we would be doing with the project, is taking the area where the boathouse is and building a convention center on top of that spot into the side of that hill, and using the dedicated spots that are already there. And so the infrastructure for the park wouldn't change. I think one of the biggest things that this would accomplish, other than giving the community a convention center and so many other things, is it does a really good job of taking advantage of the natural beauty that is in the park.
Yep.
Overlooking that pond and everything else. It's a
Some of the design concepts that we talked about in the design phase for these renderings included the open timber frame structure, and all that is in conjunction with nature and with the park. So we felt like we did a really good job with that, matching it and fitting it in. And then the other thing I didn't really mention, the bottom board over here on the right, this project, and the cost of this project also includes alternate exit to Watson Lane. And the timing is perfect with that. As you probably know, the state's widening Watson Lane in the near future, and so the timing is perfect, lined up for that. And if you've ever pulled out and turned left from Alderman Park, you know
Hold
how
on.
important
You
that is. So
You turn
we
right
tied all
before
that
you
in.
Well, thank you on coming to present to us. I think we have a little bit of unfinished business. If you want to take care of it at today's meeting, if you need some more time to think, that's okay too. But it seems as if the county unanimously approved the $15,000 contribution toward the $52,000 feasibility study this morning. If this is something that the commission would like to do, then we'll need that in form of a motion to further examine. Would anybody like to make a motion that we make that funding?
That that we approve $15,000 to go toward the feasibility study for this convention center.
All right, we have a motion from Commissioner Vowles. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second, Commissioner Pruitt. Yes, sir.
One thing I'd recommend, since this will occur in the new fiscal year, we could take the allocation out of the visionary funds
Okay.
that are in our proposed budget, and we can pay for it from that.
Gotcha. So do we do have a motion on the table. Do we still need to go ahead and go through with that motion to fund it with the $15,000, even though it's taken out of there? Okay. So we have a motion and a second, and that's a really good idea. We do have dedicated funds toward the vision plan every year. Do we have any other questions or discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Thomas,
Aye.
Commissioner Pruitt,
Aye.
Commissioner Whitt,
Aye.
Commissioner Vowles,
Aye.
Mayor Staten.
Aye. Thank you all very much. You did a really good job. Thank you.
Thanks.
Next up, we have the Henderson Chamber of Commerce.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
We have a couple of things we're here to talk about. I'm Lindsay Lacosto, the president of the Henderson Chamber.
And Clay Gillum, Events and Communications for the Downtown at the Chamber.
The first thing that we wanted to come and talk to you about, and I will say I'm very excited about the convention center as well. After just doing our annual dinner last night, it would be amazing to have a full-service event center. So that we're very excited about that as well. But we're here to talk about the city's favorite holiday, 4th of July. So just a little bit of a background. The city provided the Downtown Henderson Partnership $2,000 to be allocated directly towards the cost of fireworks. And this has gone on for at least 10 years, if not longer. That's as far back as the records that I currently have go back to. And from that time, the cost of fireworks has gone up significantly. For an example, in 2000, and this kind of sheds a little bit of light, I think, for maybe some of you even, on the cost of pyrotechnics and the cost that goes into that. Our cost of fireworks in 2018 is $9,000. Our contract this year for fireworks, just the fireworks, $16,000. This is the same company that we've used. This is the same company that has helped us through the barge issues that we faced, and then insurance became, that liability became an issue. He's very competitive in price and has always done a great job. And this is a day and an event in our community that provides a free family fun event in the summer for all of the families in Henderson and also those that are visitors. So we recognize how important it is that our community continues to provide a 4th of July celebration for our downtown and for our community that everybody can attend. We have, our sponsorship this year has gone down, and we are asking the city to provide us with the $9,000 to cover the difference in cost for the fireworks this year. We have $5,000 in sponsorship and another $2,000 in grants. Again, we really want to continue this event for our community and are very thankful for the partnership that we have with the city. But we did want to ask $9,000 for the July fireworks celebration this year. But happy to answer any questions that have to do with that or any other downtown events.
I have a comment to make.
Mhm.
I think that over the years, you all have done such a fantastic job of stretching the money to produce a really high-quality fireworks display.
Thank, if you, I'm not going to share other communities'
Yeah, yeah.
spend on fireworks,
Yeah.
but we are able to put on a tremendous show for a fraction of what some of our neighbors spend on fireworks.
That is
We
very
really
well
do.
put.
Yeah.
And you, I'm glad you put it that way because I might have let it slip about what some of the people
Yeah.
do spend on it, but you all do such an amazing job stretching the dollar. And what kind of, I know you have a couple of issues, but I want to take care of this one first.
Mhm.
Does anyone have any questions or comments about what the chamber is asking us to do?
I'll make just a general comment. I was in the room when this was being discussed, before, and, I think some people just get a little bit overwhelmed with the price of everything going up so much, and the question becomes, well, does the chamber have to do this? And if they didn't, who would? And, that's just, I think as a city, we owe it to our citizens to put on a really nice celebration for the 4th of July. And I think it's part of our responsibility, and we're really, really lucky to have the chamber assist us with that responsibility. So, I'll thoroughly support their request.
Commissioner, do you want to put that in the form of a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the funding request from the chamber for the 4th of July holiday.
I'll second
All right, so we have a motion on the floor to approve the funding request of $9,000 from the chamber to assist in the gap that they have with the fireworks, and we have a second. Are there any questions or comments, discussion?
I just want to say, I know kids in the neighborhood, they'll spend $1,000 worth of stuff.
Right.
You go there. I said, how much all that? This was $5. Yeah, the price, what y'all put on, and we can get it done for $16,000, go to it.
Well, thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Good deal. We do have to, so we have a motion and a second. Can you go ahead and, oh, sorry.
Make a
Yes, sir.
comment.
Yes, sir.
I would ask if approved, that you could invoice the city prior to July 1st so we can take those funds out of this year's budget.
Is that doable?
Yes, it is.
All right. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Thomas.
Aye.
Commissioner Pruitt.
Aye.
Commissioner Witt.
Aye.
Commissioner Vowles.
Aye.
Mayor Staten.
Aye. And you have something else you wanted to talk to us
We did,
about?
yes. I also just want to say thank you again for that. In the past year, our organization has put on 77 events with a staff of 4. About 25 to 30 of those events were downtown events from the downtown partnership that merged over. And the majority of those events are free for the community, and we're very grateful to be able to continue to provide those free events for our community members, and it's because of the support of the city and other sponsorships and grants. So thank you very much.
I'll just echo that thanks, we're very appreciative, and it is a lot of events, and it does really benefit the community, so we're very grateful for the support today. So I came before you all a few weeks ago to talk about a dog park and a proposal to put that downtown. So wanted to come in today just with an update. We've continued to work with the city, especially the engineering department, to just look at what is feasible, what's in the best interest of everyone in the community. And so wanted to provide an update on that in addition to an updated request. So we had talked initially about almost a 2-acre space, sort of between the bridge and Red Banks Park that's available, the Pier 1 lot, Station 1 lot. We've gotten a little bit more specific in a way that we think is going to be beneficial in a lot of ways. So it's the area sort of kind of behind that little white space that you can see. It's more like a 1/4 of an acre at this point. Still would have a large dog and small dog area, but some of the benefits that we see for this location. Number one, it's already got some mature trees, so there would be some shade just built into that space naturally. There is some fencing existing that we may or may not be able to utilize to cut down on the total expense of the project. As you can see in this mock-up from the engineering department in the city, it would be fairly simple to create a sidewalk from the existing Red Banks parking over to where this park would be. So just minimizing the overall impact of the project, but continuing to provide the ultimate goal that we were looking for. In addition to that, it's a little bit further off the street in terms of safety, and also we know not everybody is a dog lover, and so it kind of just tucks this away a little bit, but still keeps it attached to the Riverwalk ultimately, which was the goal, to have it be as accessible as possible for people in the community. Just as kind of a update on the budget, we've honed in a little bit on what the specific numbers might look like, and kind of to make this a little bit more simple, all told, at a very, very, very minimum for this location that we just looked at, probably $52,000 to cover all of the amenities and the fencing. There's a wide range that we could look at, and it could obviously go up. I'm sure most of you know that most projects don't come in at a minimum, but that would be the bare minimum that we would need. As a reminder, the Downtown Henderson Partnership has $48,000 sitting in a pot for downtown projects that the committee has voted is willing to put towards this project. And I think we talked a little bit last time too about the different fundraising opportunities. We've taken an opportunity to kind of take a temperature with some people in the community and with some different groups, and had a lot of positive feedback about the potential to fundraise for this park, whether it's, you know, having a business name on a park bench, whether it's having your name on a fountain, whether it's having a brick for your dog at a lower expense like $50 to $100. Unanimously, there's been a lot of support for the potential for fundraising. And so that brings us to kind of what our request is at this point. Based on that budget, based on that area, we do feel like the downtown project money, in addition to fundraising, would be able to support a lot of the park. But where we would really ask for support from the city is in the infrastructure. So if we need lighting for that area to make it more secure, if we need to run water where we're providing the fountains, but the city installs them and brings the water to the fountains, creating that sidewalk from the Red Banks parking lot to the area where the park is, and then, you know, continued maintenance like mowing and trash in that area. That would be our primary request in order to make this project happen.
It's changed quite a bit over a few weeks period of time. I think the last time you were here, you were potentially asking us for $90,000 for the dog park, and now it's the number's at zero, but with some support needed. Is that accurate?
Some in-kind support.
Yeah, some in-kind support for some infrastructure, stuff like that. Yes. What kind of questions or comments do we have from the commission on this?
I like the new location, because the only negative feedback I got was the old location. So, so I think it's perfect.
I've walked down there a lot just to scope it out, and it is nice because it is off of the Riverwalk a little bit, so if anybody doesn't want to be around dogs, they don't have to, and if a dog got off the leash, there's enough. Yeah. So it seems a lot safer, for sure.
I think the one thing that we will have to consider most of all is the first bullet point of the use of the land. You know, the land has not been in use for anything useful since Station 1 was torn down, which was quite a long time ago. However, do you all have a proposal for how we might handle a situation to where if we have somebody who wants to purchase that land and develop it, what that looks like if we put the dog park out there? Have you?
Can I speak?
Yeah, sure, please.
And Dawn can back me up, but the property along the riverfront can never be sold.
Okay.
But the one thing in their efforts, and Dylan, I would ask that you step forward too, please. We had a conversation with Barb Bowles with the water utility, and I think this board needs to understand that in the future, in the event that the water treatment facility would have to expand, it's possible that they may have to expand into this area. But that's an unknown at this point in time. So with that being said, I don't see any harm in what they're doing. More specifically, if they add fencing along the riverbank, that is something that we would possibly have to do in the future anyway.
Yeah, I think that's fair. The only thing I would add, I think like if there was ever the intent to maybe come back and add like some sort of structure like a pavilion or something in the future, we would obviously need to talk with the water utility and see their plans. Because I think the biggest thing is Buzzy and I went out to the site and we looked at it. We specifically suggested that area for a few reasons. One is because when you go out and look at it, it's really not a piece of land you would want to develop unless the water utility was going to do what they talked about with the carbon activated stuff. So, and like Buzzy said, the fencing you would probably put up anyway because there's a big drop off there. The other good things about that site is it allows us to utilize the parking that's already existing in the neighboring park. There's trees there. That was the other good thing about that location. There's a couple semi-mature trees there, whereas the rest of the area is just open. And I was out there a few weeks ago and it was blazing hot out there even then. So having a natural shade and I think the biggest concern would be the water utility. But I think with the improvements we're making now, it's a logical fit.
Yeah.
But even if they were to expand, by that time, we would know how big this thing really is.
Yeah.
And if you leave here and drive there and look at where this space actually is, because whenever I just picture it in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, it's still Station 1. It really is a little bit further down and tucked behind.
Gotcha.
It's not the main grassy area that comes to mind when we first proposed this.
It's everything to the right of the bridge, and I think like you all would always want that property wouldn't
Right.
get developed, I would think. So
Correct, yeah, that's our clear well that was white right there.
Yeah, right here.
That's our potable water before it goes out to our customers.
so they would always keep this up the bridge.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a wonderful project, and I think it's a really good fit with the Riverwalk there, too.
Yeah.
Dawn, can you give us some guidance? Do we need a motion to set this in motion, or do we just need a general consensus to move forward?
What we'll probably need to do is prepare an agreement
Okay.
with DHP Chamber, because I think DHP still has money in DHP, so they actually are still, even though they're under Chamber, they have a separate entity.
Yes.
So that we lay everything out and who's responsible, and then come back with a municipal order would be my suggestion.
Sounds good. So in light of your suggestion, I'm going to ask the commission, is anyone not in favor of moving forward and fleshing this out a little bit further? Everybody good to at least take a look at what Dawn's going to put together with Lindsay?
Yeah, I don't think it hurts to look at it. I don't think in light of all the money that we've spent recently, which is a substantial amount and a lot of needs for Salvation Army, not knowing what the future looks like for them, homeless coalition, some other issues. I don't know if I would be in favor if it expanded at all in terms of cost. If there's in-kind contributions, as they mentioned, but perhaps there's no cost the city really has to bear, perhaps some in-kind donations that we can maintain. And, I think that perhaps is acceptable. But yeah, I think I'm in favor of seeing where it goes. I don't think it does any use to talk about it unless we get more feedback from the community and really see exactly if that's something they're interested in, if people have concerns about that location. I know I'd heard a lot of concerns about the cost. Obviously, the cost is not really a concern at this point. The location to me, it's still, I would think would be interested to hearing more people in the city's comments regarding that.
Gotcha. Good points, Commissioner Witt. In light of that, it looks like we will move forward to take a look at an agreement for it.
Okay, wonderful.
Did you all have anything else? You said a few things, so was it just two, or did you have more for us?
Did have one more.
Okay.
This is just going along with the light pole banners downtown. The Sunset District, which we've been working on with the city, we are proposing that we put, is Abby still here? Yes, she is. Along with the Tourist Commission, the Chamber has been working with getting new light pole banners for downtown, and we are just proposing that we can work with the city to get those up, and we would like to have them in specific areas permanently through the summer season until the Christmas decorations go up. So I know right now there's a lot of festival banners that go up, but we are just asking for there to be a permanent banner that we can bring to you all and send and show.
Do you have anything to show us as far as how many and what locations?
There would be 32 at the corners of Main and Second, Water and Second and Elm.
Do you mind
Yes.
if I jump in? Can I jump in and just?
Absolutely,
Yeah,
sure.
okay. So, when the Tourist Commission took the lead on the branding for the Sunset District, we were really excited for it to kind of span beyond the scope of just, Friday nights for a few hours for these events, which is fantastic. But we saw it being more encompassing of branding kind of a neighborhood of our city. So when we started talking about what we could do to integrate that more into the downtown district, of course, light pole banners are a really cost-effective way to create a sense of place. You're somewhere special. You're somewhere that has been branded. And we've been talking about this on my committee in the inner city revitalization plan too. So it's a lot of fun. So the thought was, and the Tourist Commission has agreed to handle the cost of the banners, the design of the banners, all of that. So we would just ask the city to put them up. But the thought was, it's fabulous that we have so many events downtown that are investing and promoting through light pole banners, but maybe there's a way for both of them to live downtown together. So if we put our banners on, some key intersections of the downtown district, that would still leave plenty of room for the event banners to kind of change out throughout the season as well. So that was, at least from the
Yeah.
Tourist Commission's end,
That
what
just
we
popped
were.
into my mind that we were going to ask about.
Mayor, I hate to intercede here, but as part of our security plan that went to Frankfurt for the entertainment destination, one of the things that we said we would do when the entertainment destination district was open would be to flag or banner to indicate that the destination district is open. So if you're going to put banners up all the time, that may be in contradiction of the security plan that has been approved. So I think before we go any farther, maybe we need to sit down and talk about it and then talk with Frankfurt. I think it's a great idea. I just don't want to do anything that jeopardizes what we've already had approved by Frankfurt.
Sure. And just to kind of rehash a little bit about that approval process, it was kind of a delicate approval process anyway, because we were made aware that we potentially might have to have 7 manned entry and exit points into that thing, and then staff it completely. And we were able to get our plan passed without those 7 manned entry and exit points. And so I agree that if we need to give it any extra thought just to make sure that we are 100% in compliance, then I don't think it's a bad idea at all to just set a meeting outside of here.
Sure.
and bring Dawn and Buzzy and whoever else you might need.
Okay.
And we can meet with you and see what we can work out.
Yeah, and we do have sandwich board signs to go out in front of every business that says it's activated. So we do have those, which will be in
And
place.
and the city has ordered flags.
Okay.
That will go in the flag poles for the poles that are on the corners of the entrances. So what we may be able to do is change our security plan, resubmit it, and say this is what updating it is, see if they'll approve it, and do the banners. I just, like I said, I don't want to do anything that jeopardizes that, but I think we can work something out, but I just don't want to.
Gotcha. Well, thank you for bringing it up. And if you don't mind, just sometime outside of this meeting, if you would, just reach out to Lindsay and you all can set up a meeting and
All right.
and get together. And
I think we have a meeting this week,
I think
actually.
Good.
I have a couple more things.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. Don't worry, Buzzy. I'll give Buzzy some.
Well, thank you all so much.
That's all.
And I will say thank you all so much for the work that you're doing in the community, all of you. It's fantastic. We certainly
While I'm at the
appreciate it.
podium.
Are you at the podium still?
Or do you mind?
Go ahead.
To go on the expansion, y'all stay up here. To go on kind of the expansion of this wonderful brand that I think we've created for this district downtown, how many of you all have ever heard about our parking challenges in downtown? Anyone? Okay, so something that came out of the Vision Committee that I think is really exciting, and you might have seen some action already on Main Street with this. Field and Main has graciously offered the employee lot to the community outside of normal business hours, of course, that's over 100 parking spots that's an amenity to the community. So what we kind of notice is if you have to turn around a lot of corners, maybe people are a little more hesitant to walk a little bit. I can be that way too. But if you park in that employee lot and you look right across the street, the alley next to Butler's Apothecary is a straight shot to Rookie's back door and to Rock House's back door as well, which at least, has the appearance of it's closer. So we formed a committee, myself, Lindsay, Donna Stinnett, and Kelsey Hargis, to look at how do we activate that particular alley to make it a little more inviting, maybe not so spooky at night to walk through that alley and maybe entice people to park in that lot. So we've named it Butterfly Alley. The lights have gone up, and this, again, the tourism board was very gracious to cover the cost. It's about $15,000 total, so our board is really proud of that. So the lights have gone up. Kelsey came up with this concept that she saw in I can't say another country because it's Puerto Rico, but an island. Beautiful pink lights with flowers that cascade down through the alley. It's pretty deep if you look at it. And local artist Tabitha Taylor is creating a beautiful mural, 2 sizes. They're butterfly wings with the Sunset District colors that includes our community brand green and blue. And it says "Discover Your Wings." So we think this will be a fabulous selfie spot. I think kids are really going to love it. I can already see my daughter just swooning over it. But I think it'll also be really functional, make that alley more usable and feel a little more friendly. So it's just expansion of that brand that we're seeing in our downtown district. So go look. The lights are up. Go look.
Looks nice.
It looks really fun.
It does.
Yeah, we for the conference this weekend, we parked there and walked through the alley. I know something's in there, but so yeah, I mean, it is a convenient way of walking through, so I think it's a good idea.
Good deal. Well, thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Thanks for all you guys do.
Where's that?
We have
I'll just leave it.
we have need for a public hearing. Buzzy, before I bang the gavel, would you explain to us why we are having a public hearing, please?
Every year, we bring this item before the Board of Commissioners, and we're conducting the public hearing is that the federal government, for every gallon of gas sold, there's a federal tax, and part of that tax comes back to the state of Kentucky. And through the state of Kentucky, a portion of that money, through a formula, comes back to the city of Henderson. And that's what helps fund paving of our public streets. So we are asked every year to hold this public hearing to see if there are any comments from the public on our proposed paving project for the upcoming year. And that is listed below the public hearing. If anyone has any questions or concerns, it is also part of our annual budget appropriations that we will ask y'all to approve tonight.
All right, very good job. Thank you. So with that, I am going to open the public hearing. If anybody would like to speak on the municipal road aid and LGEA funds plan that the city has put forward for consideration, now would be the time to do so. And seeing no comments, I will now close the public hearing and move on to the consent agenda. Yes, ma'am, please.
The consent agenda for the May 23rd, 2023 meeting consists of the April 25th, 2023 regular meeting, the minutes of the April 27th, 2023 called work session with Vision Plan Committee, and the May 4th, 2023 called meeting. Resolution number 29-23, resolution increasing salary of city attorney by 2% effective as of June 1st, 2023. And municipal order 24-23, municipal order authorizing grant and partial release of easement between the city of Henderson owner, Pratt Paper Kentucky LLC tenant, and Kentucky Utilities Company, and authorizing mayor to execute the easement on behalf of the city of Henderson.
Before we get a motion in a second, is there any item that any commissioner would like to pull off of the consent agenda for further discussion? Hearing none, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Thomas?
Aye.
Commissioner Pruitt?
Aye.
Commissioner Witt?
Aye.
Commissioner Vowles?
Aye.
Mayor Staten?
Aye. Next up, we have an ordinance pertaining to mobile food units.
Ordinance number 08-23, ordinance amending Chapter 17 Parks and Recreation regarding mobile food unit vendor regulations. Ordinance amending Chapter 17 Parks and Recreation, Article 4 Mobile Food Units, Section 17-66, regulation of mobile food unit vendors of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Henderson to prohibit any registered sex offender to work in or operate a mobile food unit that has a mobile food vending license issued by the City of Henderson while conducting business in designated mobile food vending spaces.
Right, it seemed to be very self-explanatory. Do we have a motion
So
to
moved.
approve? We have a motion to approve. We have a second. Do we have any other questions or discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Thomas?
Aye.
Commissioner Pruitt?
Aye.
Commissioner Witt?
Aye.
Commissioner Vowles? Mayor Staten?
Aye. Next up, we have an ordinance pertaining to the possession of alcoholic beverages that are currently prohibited.
Ordinance number 09-23, ordinance amending Chapter 17 Parks and Recreation, possession of alcoholic beverages. An ordinance amending Chapter 17 Parks and Recreation, Article 1 in general, Section 17-2, possession of alcoholic beverages prohibited of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Henderson to allow alcohol in Audubon Mill Park and a portion of the Doc Hosbach Tennis Complex in conjunction with the opening of the Entertainment Destination Center.
Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Are there any questions, comments, or discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Thomas?
Aye.
Commissioner Pruitt?
Aye.
Commissioner Witt?
Aye.
Commissioner Vowles?
Aye.
Mayor Staten?
Aye. Next up, we have an ordinance setting the pilot payments.
The first one is ordinance number 10-23, ordinance setting the payment in lieu of tax or the pilot for Henderson Municipal Gas. Ordinance setting the percentage of the payment in lieu of tax to be paid by Henderson Municipal Gas to the City of Henderson, Kentucky.
Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Again, this is a continuation from a conversation that's been going on over the last year and a half to arrive at this moment that we've read this. So we've had a lot of discussion along the way. However, if there's any comments, discussion, or questions, we'll entertain those right now. Seeing none, roll call, please.
Commissioner Thomas?
Aye.
Commissioner Pruitt?
Aye.
Commissioner Witt?
Aye.
Commissioner Vowles?
Aye.
Mayor Staten?
Aye. We have a continuation of the pilot payment ordinances.
Ordinance number 11-23, ordinance setting the payment in lieu of tax or pilot for Henderson Water and Sewer Commission. Ordinance setting the percentage of the payment in lieu of tax to be paid by the Henderson Water and Sewer Commission doing business as Henderson Water Utility to the City of Henderson, Kentucky.
Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any questions, comments, discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Thomas?
Aye.
Commissioner Pruitt?
Aye.
Commissioner Witt?
Aye.
Commissioner Vowles?
Aye.
Mayor Staten?
Aye. And if I'm not mistaken, we have one more pilot ordinance that needs to be read. Is that correct?
Ordinance number 12-23, ordinance setting the payment in lieu of tax or pilot for the Utility Commission. Ordinance setting the percentage of the payment in lieu of tax to be paid by the City Utility Commission doing business as Henderson Municipal Power and Light to the City of Henderson, Kentucky.
Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Questions, comments? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Thomas?
Aye.
Commissioner Pruitt,
Aye.
Commissioner Witt,
Aye.
Commissioner Vowles,
Aye.
Mayor Staten.
Aye. Next up, we have the HWU Budget and Appropriation Ordinance.
Ordinance number 13-23, ordinance adopting Henderson Water Utility Budget. Budget and appropriation ordinance for the fiscal year commencing July 1st, 2023 and ending June 30th, 2024 for Henderson Water Utility of the City of Henderson, Kentucky.
Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Do we have any questions, comments, or discussion for, I believe Bart Bowles is in the audience. He's available if anybody has any questions or concerns. Hearing none, roll call, please.
Commissioner Thomas,
Aye.
Commissioner Pruitt,
Aye.
Commissioner Witt,
Aye.
Commissioner Vowles,
Aye.
Mayor Staten.
Aye. Next up, we have first reading of our Budget and Appropriations Ordinance for the City of Henderson.
Okay, one moment, please. Make sure I got my phone turned up, and let's see. Ordinance number 14-23, ordinance adopting budget and appropriation ordinance for the 2023 through 2024 fiscal year. Budget and appropriation ordinance for the fiscal year commencing July 1st, 2023 and ending June 30th, 2024 for the City of Henderson, Kentucky. Whereas the city manager has prepared a proposed annual budget for fiscal year commencing July 1st, 2023 and ending June 30th, 2024 pursuant to KRS 83A.150. And whereas KRS 91A.030 requires the adoption of the budget and the appropriation ordinance by the Board of Commissioners based upon the budget submitted by the city manager. Now therefore be it ordained by the City of Henderson, Kentucky as follows. Number 1, the budget submitted to the Board of Commissioners by the city manager is hereby adopted and approved, and said budget is incorporated herein by reference, and 3 copies thereof signed by the mayor shall be kept on file in the office of the city clerk as part of the public record of the city. Number 2, there is hereby appropriated from the general and special fund accounts of the City of Henderson and allocated to the various funds of the city the following amounts. Fiscal 2024 budget appropriation, general fund. General fund expenditure total, $33,461,000. Transfer to PWI, $1,410,000. Transfer to mass transit, $556,000. Transfer to construction fund, $941,000. Transfer to emergency communications, $676,000. Transfer to police and fire pension, $333,000. Transfer to civil service pension, $74,000. Transfer to cemetery, $288,000. Transfer to bond fund, $1,061,000. Total general fund, $38,800,000. Natural gas fund, $22,544,000. Health reimbursement arrangement, $250,000. Civil service pension fund, $80,000. Police and fire pension fund, $333,000. Cemetery fund, $586,000. Health insurance fund, $9,256,000. Bond fund, $8,330,000. Public way improvement fund, $2,162,000. Construction fund, $25,614,000. Heart operating fund, $1,840,000. Sanitation fund, $4,841,000. Emergency communications fund, $1,851,000. Tourism commission fund, $265,000. Community development fund, $680,000. Police investigation fund, $102,000. Number 3, the number and classifications of city employees as recited in the annual budget is approved as presented. Number 4, the city manager is authorized to hire an additional 2 police officers when it is deemed necessary by the chief of police and the city manager due to the length of training necessary for this position. Number 5, the city manager is authorized to hire an additional 1 firefighter when it is deemed necessary by the fire chief and the city manager due to the length of training necessary for this position. Number 6, the city manager is authorized to hire additional non-hazardous duty personnel for key positions when deemed necessary for succession training purposes, and the expenditures of the additional hires do not exceed the appropriations granted. And number 7, this ordinance shall become effective as of July 1st, 2023.
I never saw your lips move. Before we have any discussion, do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Do we have any questions, comments, or discussion? I think we spent 4 hours doing that last week, didn't we?
That is the second one. I cut 5 seconds off of it that time.
And she can use it again at the next meeting for the second reading. So we have a motion and a second. Can we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Thomas?
Aye.
Commissioner Pruitt?
Aye.
Commissioner Whit?
Aye.
Commissioner Vowles?
Aye.
Mayor Staten?
Aye. Next up, we have an ordinance amending job classifications as part of the Connie Galloway plan.
Yep.
Ordinance number 15-23, ordinance amending job classifications and pay plan. Ordinance approving amendment to job classifications and pay plan for the non-hazardous duty positions, fire hazardous duty positions, and police hazardous duty positions for fiscal year 2024.
All right, thank you. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
And we spent a long time discussing this again the other day. However, if there are any questions or comments for discussion, now would be the time to bring those up. Hearing none, roll call, please.
Commissioner Thomas?
Aye.
Commissioner Pruitt?
Aye.
Commissioner Whit?
Aye.
Commissioner Vowles?
Aye.
Mayor Staten?
Aye. And next up, we have a municipal order approving cost of living adjustments.
Wait a minute.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You're right.
Oh, thank
I
you.
don't know what I did with it.
Give you mine.
I've got it. Okay. Municipal order number 25-23, municipal order approving 1.5% cost of living adjustment, or COLA, for non-hazardous duty employees, fire hazardous duty employees, police hazardous duty employees, and elected officials effective July 1st, 2023.
Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Have any questions, comments, or discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Thomas?
Aye.
Commissioner Pruitt?
Aye.
Commissioner Whit?
Aye.
Commissioner Vowles?
Aye.
Mayor Staten?
Aye. Next up, we have a municipal order authorizing the purchase of body cameras and in-car video system.
Municipal order number 26-23, municipal order awarding proposal for purchase of a turnkey body camera and in-car video system for the Henderson Police Department to Utility Associates Incorporated of Decatur, Georgia, in the amount of $389,200.
Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
I would just like to point out a few things. One is we are sticking with the same carrier, and two is the cost ended up coming in quite a bit cheaper than we had first expected. Does anyone have any questions, comments, or discussion? Roll call, please.
Yeah,
Oh, sorry.
so
Yeah, no.
What did we pay? Remember when we first started?
Uh-huh.
It was higher than this.
It was
one.
higher than this, yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, so our
I know I'm on board.
renewal contract was very successfully negotiated by those involved, and yeah, we got a better deal to keep the same system in place.
Yeah, I was looking at that. I said, we paid more for that when we first started.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah.
Good job.
I'd like to make a comment that Police Chief Heath Cox and Jeremy Conrad worked on this project, and through their efforts were able to get this pricing that is lower than what we currently
Yeah.
pay.
Absolutely. Thank you guys very much. As job well done. So we have a motion and a second. Any more comments or discussion? Everybody good? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Thomas?
Aye.
Commissioner Pruitt?
Aye.
Commissioner Whit?
Aye.
Commissioner Vowles?
Aye.
Mayor Staten?
Aye. And before we get to the city manager's report, I wanted to ask, is there anyone that is present here with us today who would like to bring anything before the commission that is not on the agenda? Hearing none, we'll move straight into the city manager's report.
Today I have the police chief is here, and I would ask that he come to the podium to further our discussion that we had during the work session with regards to lateral pay for the police department.
Thank you all for letting me come up today. We talked about this our last meeting, so I have a few more slides here with some more information on it. I'm going to kind of present the plan, then I'm going to ask Dawn to talk about, because she wasn't here, the implementation of it or whatever, how we need to do that. But One of the questions we had last time was what's the difference between if we hire somebody as opposed to bring someone already in trained? Just don't have a pointer. As you can see, the recruit over here on the right side, we have the same general fees, that's background, that's polygraph, things of that nature. But you can see the benefit package when it comes to insurance, retirement, taxes, all that thing is significantly lower. The training is the big thing, the 4 weeks before the academy for us getting them ready to go. $3,600, 20-week salary during the academy. That's them being trained to be an officer. That's a big one. 14-week salary during RTO, $12,000, 14-week pay for an RTO. We pay them
Chief,
$1,800.
can I stop you and ask you a scoot a little? Thank you. So
Sure.
people at home can hear you.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
So as you see, if you go down the columns, the other training is only 8 weeks. So it totals out to us being $72,000 for the recruit and only $20,000 for the lateral. So we look at every person we bring in over potentially saving over $50,000, basically in training alone. That's why this is a big deal, and it puts them to work without delay. So that's a big difference. So I wanted to point that out and let you see that. What we had talked about last time was an incentive of $12,000. They go from anywhere from 7 to 25. 12 seems to be the sweet spot. I've since thought about this, and I've spoke with the city manager about it. We've had some things that would indicate that our manpower is going in the opposite direction, so to speak. So what I would like to request today is, if we're going to do this, I think we need to do a little more. We need to bring people in under this program. I can't stress that enough. We need anyone who's around looking for a job for a police department, we really need them to come over. So what I was wanting to propose is move it from 12 to 15,000. The way that would work would be the minimum incentive awarded would be 7,500. The maximum would be 15. We've thought about how we're going to come up with paying different people different amounts. The thing about it, the years of experience are different. If you're at a small department and you work 10 years, you may not have the experience of someone that comes from a large department and works 3 years. A 5-year officer can have certifications that a 15-year officer can have. So it's very varied. So we want to look at the years of experience, what certifications, what kind of training, what positions have they held, what was the call volume from their previous agency, and of course if there's any discipline or anything of that nature. And I was hoping to have discretion with that of the city manager and the mayor I would put in for, this is what I'm thinking based on these reasons, and get approval. And that way there would be oversight, obviously, so you would know exactly what we were trying to do. I think the money needs to be paid in the first year. I think if we drag it out, as Commissioner Val said last time, we're not going to have the impact if we was to say we're going to pay it over 3 years or 4 years. But I do think there's some merit in getting them out of the initial training. I think there's merit in that where they would get part of it. And then I think upon completion of their probationary year, they would get the rest. So in the first year, they would get it, but I do think it needs to be somewhat stepped. And anyway, that's about where we stand. And like I said, we are in a very, very critical place right now when it comes to manpower and rendering services with the summer months coming upon us. We've got employees who have applied to other places. We have employees who have turned in their resignation. We're going to really have to seriously talk about our SRO program for next year due to a lot of this turnover that I think may take place. So I just bring it before you today, and any conversations would be greatly appreciated. And I think I'll probably have to be back in a couple months asking for some help in the retention of officers. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it's going to be, but we're going to internally go and talk about it. But like I said, you've got recruitment, retention. You work on recruitment, and we get a few in, and then retention starts to fall. It's truly a balancing act, and we truly appreciate everything the commission has done for us. And we understand everybody that steps up here is always asking for money. It's got to be owed to sit there and get asked for money day in and day out. So anyway, that's where we stand. Is there any questions at all?
I wanted to, sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, you're right, everybody comes asking for money, but I think we all, I'm speaking for everybody, I speak for myself, you know, if we don't have a safe community, I mean, that's the biggest investment you can make. I know when we talked, gosh, what was that work session in January? The main central theme was, you know, trying to retain employees, attract employees to the city. I think this perfectly kind of goes hand in hand with what we discussed, and that was the general theme, and I know it's a general theme across the economy right now. So, you know, I know we've talked about the, you know, the convention center, all these other things, but the best investment obviously is in the safety and making sure that we bring police officers in, as you alluded to, in lateral, to hopefully increase your all's manpower and hopefully make it safer for the people that are working there as well. So, you know, I think anything we can do to support you all in your efforts of doing that, I'm absolutely supportive of.
How many
Appreciate
laterals
that.
do we have right now?
Laterals? 0?
So just one? Okay.
At least 2 laterals?
I'm just wondering how this would affect them.
It wouldn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
One way you could potentially structure this, I think I've seen it in some scenarios, would be like a forgivable loan, where you do pay it all up front, but it doesn't get forgiven. There's a debt remaining there until a certain number of years later, and then it gets forgiven. Is that?
Oh, that's what, so I used to work at Gibbs a long time ago. And that's how they did their scholarship, or not scholarship, but their, when they reimburse you for tuition program.
Right.
I remember every time I received a tuition reimbursement, it restarted a 2-year clock. And if I left within 2 years of having received that tuition reimbursement, I had to pay it back. And so it's very common in industry and a number of businesses, and it's not a bad idea.
So that's, I mean, I'm just thinking, keep them here for longer than a year. It might be a good strategy.
Yeah. Well, that way we are paying the incentive out earlier, but we also, we have a clawback there that would encourage retention as well. So it's really a good thought.
Well, when you can spend $15,000 and save, what are we saving, 37?
Yeah.
For everyone we get in training.
But yeah, that's enough by itself.
Smart business decision, if you ask me.
Yeah, we're not the only ones doing this. Other surrounding agencies are already doing it. So, I don't know, may not get anybody bite on it. I don't know. You know, it's just a very, very tough business to be in right now.
You know, in worst case scenario, if we're paying out up to 15, you get 6 new employees out of it, and we have to pay 90,000, and we just paid 90,000 to make sure that you have 6 more employees to keep the community safe.
Absolutely.
And I echo what Commissioner Witt said. It's a really good investment on our part and on your part as well. So I'm certainly in favor of moving forward and looking at something. But do we have to do this, Dawn, by some kind of something we'll have to vote on in the future, some kind of
Yeah,
agreement?
we'll need municipal order setting up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Setting
Okay.
up the plan.
But you know, our city, you know, city goals has police department goals. Got a good police department, you have a good city and a good connection with the citizens. So it's very important to make sure we get good quality people. But I didn't know, remember I mentioned, you start giving out 15,000, then you got other officers that say, hey, we probably need a little something too. So that's a retention
Yeah.
part.
It-
So it goes.
It does, and hopefully on the back end, we can help the officers that are already here, which actually brings something up. I'd like to, maybe when we sit down and talk about incentives for years of service. So when someone gets to 5 years, they have a mark where they have a reason to stay. They get to 8, 10, 12, 15. Our lateral program in general, we've talked about, we give service up to 10 years. Maybe we extend that to 15. I don't think laterals come here with sick time or vacation time, or that might help to give a couple weeks up front. So there's a lot of stuff like that I'd like to bring forward later on, because we've done everything we can do. We are thinking of every single thing that will help with recruitment and retention, which are both equally important. So, and as Commissioner Pruitt has said, I mean, there's people going to be saying, why don't I get 15,000? I've been here doing it, and I understand that. So I understand that, and, but we need new bodies. The bodies that are here can't do all the work that is required. We need new bodies, and then hopefully, later on in the year, we can take care of those that are already here with some kind of longevity or something of that nature.
Well, Chief, just judging by what the comments were from the commission, what I might recommend is we've got 3 weeks now before our next meeting, because we have 5 Tuesdays in May. If you would, just get with the city manager and the city attorney, work up something, and if it's possible, maybe bring it back to that first meeting in June, and we'll take a look at it and see what we can get done for you.
Yep, sounds
But
good.
You definitely have our support and our continued support, and we'll do whatever we can to make sure you have a healthy department.
Yes, well, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
One more thing, Chief, before we leave. I would like for the commission to think about having some kind of day, whether it's down in Central Park, with the policemen and the citizens to come play cornhole, barbecue, just to make sure that citizens and our police department are on the same page. We hadn't done anything like that here, whether we just, because when something happens with the police, we know how it is. Wow, man, these guys are terrible. They did this and that. I think if we be proactive and get ahead of it, at least it could invite the firemen too, saying this is our day for the people who protect us when we call 911, and just have a congratulations and we all on one team, kumbaya. I think it would go far when it comes to the community.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just something to think about.
One thing about us, Commissioner Pruitt, we really like to eat. So you're talking about barbecuing and things, we'd have a big presence. But I do like the idea.
And too, because, in
agree.
today's environment, what we're talking about is making it hard.
It is.
A guy doesn't, I don't want to go, man, them guys, they doing people wrong, they doing this and that.
Yeah.
So it's having an effect. But I think if we get proactive and let everybody know that, hey, these guys right here, they got kids in school. Some of them are baseball coaches, soccer coaches. Their job is to protect the community. That's all it
Yes.
is.
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe we get local folks here who is interested in the jobs. I mean, we really, we need local Henderson people to apply. We just really do. And unfortunately, we don't have many apply, but we'd love to have them right here in our community, come and protect and serve with us.
Well, Commissioner Pruitt, you've had some success planning some events like that. Yeah,
Put
why
it
don't you
together.
reach
We'd
out
love
Chief
to.
McKinney outside the meeting and.
Could you all bring some of those donut burgers from the Tri-Fest?
Oh, my gosh, yes, that'd be great.
That's our specialty. I think we could arrange it.
Yeah,
Very good.
yeah.
I will get with you, and we'll try to get something for this later summer.
Absolutely.
Because anything that lets the community know that the policemen and firemen, they're here, when you call 911, that's their job. And these are good guys, and your next door neighbors. They're not out to do what, we see what goes on the national level. If something happens in Chicago, it affects policemen here in Henderson.
It does.
You see what them guys did? Well, no, it wasn't them guys. It's Chicago, New York, Memphis, whatever. And we're letting everybody know we got a great police force. And these guys are respectful, and they protect us, and when we get a call, they're gonna be there. It's not like, hey, we'll be there in 45 minutes.
Yes.
They show up.
Yeah, I think community partnership and relationships are very important. I think it's a great idea. We'd be more than glad to.
All right, well, thank you, Chief.
Yes,
very
thank
much.
you.
Appreciate your
Thank you.
time. Have anything else on the city manager's report for today?
Only thing I'd like to acknowledge are Transit Department Hart and Dylan Ward, Dawn Wynn, and Connie, and a few others are involved with our every 3-year triennial review, where the Federal Transportation Administration comes in and audits our books. So they're going through a 3-day process doing that. The gas department is currently working on Watson Lane, relocating the gas utilities in anticipation of bidding out the Watson Lane Road project probably in July. So that project if everything goes accordingly, could get started by August of this year.
Great. Good deal. We have reached the end of our agenda, so we will move on into the commissioners' reports. Commissioner Thomas, anything for us today?
Yes, if you're in downtown Henderson Saturday, it was one heck of a day. You had Market on Main, you had a riverboat in, you had Summerfest going on, and Snake Oil was unbelievable. It was a good night.
Good deal. Commissioner Pruitt? Commissioner Witt? Commissioner Vowles? And I have nothing additional to add today. Thank you for a wonderful meeting. I'll entertain, yes, I do. Thank you. I know what you're going to say. So we actually have need for a board appointment that I found out toward the end of last week. We have a board called the Tax Assessment Appeals Board. They meet on an as-needed basis. So the county appoints some members to that board, the city appoints a member or two to that board. It's our turn to make an appointment. We needed someone with real estate knowledge who would have the availability to serve on that board. I reached out to a few people, and the one I would like to recommend for your consideration is a young lady named Amber Wood.
Oh, yeah.
I reached out to Amber. She said she would be interested in helping as a part of that board. So if it pleases the commission, I'll entertain a motion to approve Amber Wood to the Tax Appeals Assessment
So
Board.
moved.
Do we have a second? We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Thomas?
Aye.
Commissioner Pruitt?
Aye.
Commissioner Whitt?
Aye.
Commissioner Vowles?
Aye.
Mayor Staten?
Aye. Do I have anything else, Marie?
No, that's
All right. Thank you for catching me. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Do we have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.